Alright, here's where we're at with the GMC. I have the all of those chicken lights up on the outside, both sides installed. We'll come on over here. Got all the panels back up. Of course, the light monitors are back up there. We got all my speakers put in. You can see all the speakers up there. Again, I replaced the switch and put intermittent wipers in. I've got the brake controller all hooked up, wired up. This thing's pretty cool. It will say NC, which is not connected. You can kind of see that there. There we go. Of course, we got the new JVC radio. It's got an aux port on the front, and it has one in the rear that I have a cord connected to, and I'll show you that. We've got the generator remote start hooked up here. So you just push that. Probably won't be able to hear it, but the fuel pump's running and it'll fire up here shortly. Alright, it's running. You can see the light came on. So go ahead and kill that. So once again with this bus, I relocated the air conditioning controls, so when you're sitting up here in the driver's seat, you just reach up here and there you go. You're running the air conditioning. So that's up here. I chose to put the switches actually up here because it's easier, because you don't have to run any of the wires down through this back panel here and get them down here or anywhere down here. Just all the air conditioning wiring stays up here. So we got those ran. I put LED bulbs up here. I think I said this before, but we got a bunch of the rivets drilled out of this because when I was running the conduit for these air conditioning units behind the wall here, there's a piece of metal that goes this way and one like right up here too. So you couldn't run the conduit through, so I had to actually peel all this back and drill some holes through it to get the conduit through. I didn't have that issue on the other bus, and I didn't have that issue on the rear air conditioning unit on this bus. So down here we got the amp all wired up. I made it look nice too, and it works good. So the wiring on this bus, again, it used to, well, for the air conditioning, used to run outside. You can see the hole there, holes up here, hole where the conduit was on the outside, but I drilled a hole there and ran the conduit there, and there's going to be seats in front of us here, so you won't see any of these wires or the amp when the seats are installed. This is that rear auxiliary cord right here, and this actually runs up to the radio, but it's going to be back here, so there's an auxiliary port back here as well, so if people are back here partying, they can just plug in back here to the little console I'm going to build back here. Got the party lights installed. I'm still waiting on more units. NS9987 is going to send me some more of these units because I am out at this point. So you got one party light. The other one is going to be right here, and it's going to be purple. And then I added 2 extra dome lights back here, along with the red light. I think I already mentioned that in the last video, the emergency light that's wired up. Got wires going back here. Again, the sub is going to go right there in the back corner behind the rear seat. When I get that put back in, you'll notice there is carpeting installed right here. And I just bought the carpeting, bought plywood, cut the plywood, put some glue on the plywood, put the carpet over it, and stapled the carpet to it. The reasoning for this is to kind of deaden the sound that's in here, because it's probably can hear it right now. It's very echoey. So putting carpet down the sides is going to help a little bit with that. Insulate the bus a little bit better. This is kind of a mess right here, right now. It doesn't look very good, but once I get everything completed, especially the speaker box here, 1, you won't see all this, but 2, I'm going to tidy it up a little more, wrap more stuff up. And since I'm going to use this as a tow vehicle, I decided not to mess around, and there's 2 separate harnesses here. Get your 4-way trailer connector, and you get your 7-way trailer connector, so whatever you haul, you don't need any adapters. You've got the cords right here, 2 separate harnesses, and then they go right back up here to the tail light converter, which is required because the turn signals and the brake lights and the tail lights, or I should say the turn signals and brake lights, are separate circuits, and this kind of combines them. So, I think that's about it. Need to replace this heater. I got a 2-fan, the bigger core unit to go in here. So that's where we're at right now. Air conditioning's all wired up just in time for winter. And I don't know if I said anything about this. I mounted this here. Again, you won't see this behind the seats, but it's all the wheelchair tie downs and stuff, because these first two seats, again, are going to be removable. So if you do want to put a wheelchair in here, you still have the capability to do so. Alright, I should also mention that I had put new brakes all the way around in this GMC, and I will show you why. When I put those simulators on, you can see the rotor here, a nice big crack in it. There's another one right there too. Got some grooves in it, it's got some pitting. You can see all the pitting in there. And this one over here also had a crack in it, and some more pitting, a lot of stress cracks. Must have been under a lot of heat or something, but these were on the rear, so I wanted to do these, and instead of just putting on new, new discs, new rotors, you probably should change the pads too, even though they were pretty decent on the back. So I decided, well, if you're going to put on new rotors, you put on new pads. So, and it needed front pads anyway, as you can see here. These are the front pads. You can see how thin it is here and here, but thick over here. So those are the front pads, and these are the rear pads. They're actually pretty thick yet, but this one, when it was taken apart, actually debonded and came off. So I actually didn't have time to do this, so I paid somebody else to do it. And these are all the old parts. We still got to change one of the calipers yet, which is what this is. Brand new caliper, because I got one that's kind of hanging up. So it's on the list of things to do. Still need to put that other hitch on here, and well, if those updates don't excite you, this probably will. Look at that. That is an Eaton 6306A manual transmission. I'm probably going to put this in that GMC bus, because that slush box Allison just ain't cutting it for me, and it's not really made for going down the highway long distances, heavy loads. So this thing is, and I bought it used. I think I'm going to have to change this input seal, or input shaft seal, because it was leaking when this thing was sitting, and this shaft moves around a little bit. I don't know how much is normal or not. I'll try and illustrate that a little better. Oh, you can hear it wiggling around. I came out of a similar truck, rollback, and it had a cab fire, which is why this is all nice and rusted, toasty, but I think everything else is fine. There's still some paint at this point, but it still got warm. And the nice part about this deal was it came with everything, although I don't think I can reuse everything. But so we got the flywheel here. I think this flywheel is actually toast. I'll climb up here. But it's kind of hard to see here, but there's a lot of cracks, a lot of little stress cracks in here. And I just think this thing is going to be toast if I go to have it resurfaced. I'll give her a shot though, see if they can't resurface it, but I don't think this thing's gonna. I think it's toast. But it came with the flywheel, the clutch, pressure plate, the actual clutch pedal itself, and that was kind of the things I was concerned about with putting a transmission in here, is having the actual clutch pedal that goes for it, not having to go to the dealer and order that, as well as clutch cables and linkage and all that good jazz. And this thing came out of C6500 in '98, so should still have the electronic pickup for the speedometer, so we won't have speedometer issues. And I figure since it's out of the same chassis, hopefully parking brake is set up for, a GM style. It's got that PTO on there. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. I have no use for a PTO on that bus, although I was kind of considering a PTO-driven generator. That way, if I'm parked, if I want to run that, the kitty cat diesel, that we can do that instead of actually running the other generator. And of course, it came with the bell housing that was on the back of that 3126 and a starter. So this thing, pretty good deal, came with a lot of good junk. So I'm going to take this thing over and get it rebuilt. So stay tuned for more updates.